reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is advised. Good evening and welcome to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony, right here on Reality Radio 101. To get on board, send us an email. Our email address is yourhomeyourmoney101@gmail.com. And now, ladies and gentlemen, right to your hosts of Your Home, Your Money, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony.
Good evening, everybody.
What's up?
What's up? What's up?
Yeah, what's up?
Okay, anyways, that's enough fun for right now.
Why
How's
is
it
it
going,
enough
people?
fun?
How's everybody?
Why is that enough fun?
I don't know, I'm tired, maybe.
Well, maybe you shouldn't speak unless you know what you're gonna say. Didn't we have problems with that just before we went on air?
No, we had problems with you before we went on air.
You answer questions that you don't know the answer to.
No, when I guess something, like everybody guess at
No.
things, right? You be quiet. Everybody guess at things, but when I guess, my husband says I'm lying. Who agrees with that? Who thinks that just because you make a guess at something and it's wrong, you lying?
Sorry,
He's like, you lying, you lying.
I don't mean to get on you, but I don't remember him saying anything like that.
Anthony, where have you been?
You were talking about you didn't give someone information, and well, I don't know where the guessing came. Where did the guessing come in?
No,
Well, first of all,
every day
Okay.
he tells me I'm lying because
So-
I'm wrong about something.
well, no.
So just because I'm
it's-
wrong, I lied.
But when
It's
you say
different.
when you say you're wrong, so someone asks you a question, and you just answer without knowing.
Yeah.
Well,
That's lying.
But I think I know.
Well, how could you think you know?
I think I know. Like if he says to me, did you put that box there? And I think
That's
I know.
different.
Did you break
That-
down the box? I think,
That's
yeah, I
different.
did. But maybe
But-
I didn't and I forgot. And then
You
he's
say-
like, you lied. You lie. You liar.
No, you say, okay, can you call the store? She goes, well, the store's closed.
Yeah, but I do it as
Hold
I'm
on,
going.
hold
No,
on.
no, no. But I don't
How-
say I'm not going to do it.
How do you know
I'm
the
not
store is
saying
closed?
I'm not going
No,
to do
no,
it.
that's the question. How do you know the store's closed? Well, I don't. Well, why'd you say? Well, it is open. So you lied then. Because if you didn't say, well, I don't know if the store, I think that's normal. I think it's normal
But
to
you
say,
did it
well,
the other
I
day.
don't know
You
that
did
it's
it the other
open.
day.
What did I do the other day?
When we were talking about something closed or whatever, you're like, yeah, I don't. I'm like, oh, are you lying?
Yeah,
Are you
what?
guessing?
What was it?
That's my biggest pet peeve with my husband. He's constantly telling me that I'm lying.
Well, if you're saying things that are not true, then that's called lying.
It's not
unless-
lying if you're not intentionally saying, oh, I'm going to lie to you. If I think I'm
But
right.
is this something that happens frequently?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, but that's part of the problem.
This
Like
is.
4, 5. Oh, what's going on? Why?
That's the wrong show.
That's another take.
We're not wearing that
Did you
stuff.
think we just changed clothes and people just like that? Huh?
So for those of you at home, what's going on right now is we're actually online. So if you'd like to watch us on YouTube, you can search for Your Team Pros online.
But make sure you go to the live
And who
version.
thinks because you just throw an answer out there when he's like, oh, well, you know what? We should go to there or whatever. Like I wanted to go somewhere. You're like, oh, that's closed. And I'm like, oh, do you know that for a fact?
No, she's
People
making this
can
up. You're making this up so you can try to,
so tired, I could just
justify
laugh.
what you're saying. The truth of the matter is, no, people don't do that, sweetheart. If you don't know, you say
You do
could
it all
say,
the
well, hey,
time.
that might be closed, but you're not going to say no.
When
That's
you
closed.
okay, first of all,
And then-
I got it. I got a good comeback.
Okay.
First
She's
of
working
all,
on this one.
First of all, if you don't think that you're lying and somebody tells you you're lying, aren't they lying?
Wow.
Think about that. Think about it.
This is some backwards logic, if we can go as far as saying logic. Anywho, we have an email from Tim. Tim says, hello.
Good one. That's a good one.
Sorry.
You two deserve each other. That made no sense.
I will say that is a good one.
Tim says, we love Jackie. She's the best. Be nice, fellas.
Oh my God. Sorry.
And from Carla, now this is a show we love, Our Lives. Oh, Lord.
Oh my goodness.
So there are two more Bank of Canada releases. The Americans,
Who cares about the Americans? Come on.
it's important when we're talking about rate declines because the Federal Reserve in America reduced their rate 0.5 point, which was very, very aggressive. And it's a little bit of an uproar because some people are saying it's political. They're not supposed to move things during election time because they're not supposed to sway anybody's opinion one way or another. It's sort of like an unwritten rule because politics is so polarized. But they did it, and it is what it is. But I would say if their economy is anything like ours is tanking. You know, we are in a recession. And guess what, people? For those of you who may not know it, we've been in a recession for a while. The only thing that doesn't allow it to record as a recession is the fact that we have so many more people. So, the population is growing, but but the population is outpacing. If you take away that population growth, then you see that we have a negative GDP. But once you add the population numbers to it in that, then it's not. It's flat, a little bit up, and that's what's sort of making it that, oh no, it's not a recession. But realistically, we are in one, and our unemployment is rising, and interest rates are falling. Interest rates are not falling for any other reason but a bad economy. That's what's happening. So all the people who are wishing for more and more rate cuts, believe me, if they do come, it's not good news. It's actually really bad news for us. What's going on? I think the Toronto Star, I think they make you pay for
Yes,
the...
they do. And the Globe and Mail.
But the Toronto Star did an article, I think something like 300 Canadians are claiming...
300 or 300,000?
No, 300 Canadians every day now are claiming bankruptcy.
Oh, really?
Yes. So,
We
bankruptcy
have a
numbers
friend
are
that
up
deals in
huge.
bankruptcy, and it's bad.
Bankruptcy is huge
Bad,
now, So, so that's the rate hikes. And the other thing is that we want to say is that, look at this, we've had these rate cuts, and there is absolutely no benefit to the marketplace whatsoever from these rate cuts that we've been experiencing. Now, we have 2 more announcements coming before the end of the year, and it's not going to help either, even though we'll probably get rate cuts. And then next year, we'll get some more rate cuts again, and watch and see what happens to our market. Is it going to stimulate the market? No. You know, the only hope, if you want to call it hope, I actually think prices need to cool. I think we need a cooling period, allow people to allow incomes to catch up to the prices. But the only thing that could possibly pull this thing all together and not have the recession to go down hard is government policies. Government policies that would create a false marketplace, stimulate things, and throw buyers back into the marketplace.
Just to touch on that a little bit, talking about the 300, I guess, Canadians per day who are going bankrupt. With mortgage delinquencies as well, that's been shooting up as well. It shot up to in Q3 of this year. It shot up to 0.27%. So 0.27% seems like a small number, I guess overall. However, for the last since 2017, it's been ranging between the 0.05 and 0.1 percentage. So it's gone up actually 42% over the previous quarter.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, and if you're looking at the chart's just kind of just shooting up. So it's been pretty flat since 2017, flat. The 22 was still flat, and some of the flatness recently is because of basically mortgage companies just kind of letting it go and trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, those delinquencies are shooting up now. And a lot of people who bought those mortgages, or I think Jackie was talking about last week, like 5 years ago, when the rates were beautiful, are coming to their renewal time. So we'll see what happens in the next, I guess, 6 to 9 months, or even less.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of got to be, I feel, throwing a pretty decent product out there now if you want to get some good money. But the one thing that I am seeing a lot of, and I'm hearing, I got a call today, which was really funny. Got a call from somebody who said someone at their work needs to sell their house, blah, blah, blah. So I went online and looked, and I'm like, oh, well, it's been on the market one day. He's like, yeah, he's really not happy with his realtor. He's not doing anything. He's not, I'm like, damn, I'm like, it's only been one day on the market and you're already fed up with your realtor? But, I mean, like, right now, I shouldn't even say this but you need to expect more from your realtor. In a market like this, you really need to be asking for more. And these guys, they're underwater, and I know that because I can't talk to them. Like I told the person, I said, I can't talk to them. Like they're in a contract with someone, I can't help them. But I'm like, it's one day. Like, and I said to the guy, because he's like, he's having issues. I'm like, well, realtors are not going to let you out of the deal.
Well,
they don't care.
Just kind of interrupt you a little
But
bit.
they're actually offering 3% to the buyer commission, to the buyer's agent. That's because they need out immediately.
Okay. Well, if you did buy your house, or if you were buying or selling a house 4 or 5 years ago, one day is a hell of a lot of time. In one day,
Yeah.
you can have 30 offers.
Yeah.
So maybe he's still kind of stuck in 2020.
Well, I mean, the it's not staged. It's not. I think the photos may have been done with the realtor's phone. So, you need to ask these things up front, and you need to get them in writing. You need to get it in writing. If the realtor says, yeah, I'm going to do this, make them put it in writing. And I'm telling you now, and I'm not just saying this, but I'm telling you, it is so important now that you be very selective with the realtor you pick. Don't pick your brother because he does real estate and he's just in it. Don't do it. Unless you want him to lose some
You're going to start
money.
to break up families now.
No, I'm just saying though, you got to look at a realtor for what they're going to do for you. I don't care if it's your mother, your father, whatever.
I think if you're going, maybe I would pose that a little differently, because you can't break up a family over a transaction. It's really important. But if you have to use someone who may not be in touch with what's going on, and it's so important to have that. Have them co-broker it with someone who really knows what they're doing, so that you can get the good advice, the good service, the good exposure, and still appease your family members so that you keep your family together.
But you have to be.
You can have families broken up too. Like you're trying to sell your house to your brother, and he does a crap job. That can end the family relationship as well.
The thing is, the truth of the matter is that there's a small handful of realtors that are going to do a bang-up job. Unfortunately, it's not a big percentage. As a matter of fact,
Hold on, that's going to do what?
That's going to do a great job.
Yeah. Well, it's one day on the market. This guy's already unhappy that his realtor's not doing nothing.
But you know, I don't really want to judge those situations.
I'm not,
but
because I
what-
don't know what the
Right.
situation is. I'm just saying that was what came to me.
Right. It's tough. It's a tough market, and a lot of realtors have come off of, this joyous time, and so to go from where anything sells, so everybody thinks they were doing good, and I can tell you for a fact that not everybody was doing good. But it didn't matter because it was moving so fast, so people were happy, their transactions were going. But now, it's way more important to have the proper information. When only 1 in 4 homes are selling, you want to be that one. Whereas before, all the homes were selling all the time, and the minute they came on the market, the only reason they were around longer is because they were held back from the market in order to get more offers. So, all the homes were moving immediately, and now, it's a month plus to move a home, and only 1 in 4 are moving. And so it's a much harder time. You have to really know what you're doing. You have to present a product. It's either you're going to present a lifestyle product to be able to get the top dollar, or you're going to discount. And you have to be the best deal on the market, or you're not going to move. So you really have to understand what's going on, or have a realtor that understands what's going on. In our case, we believe that we're representing the client. We believe that the client's the one that makes all the decisions. We believe that it's our job to give them the best possible exposure and the best possible presentation of their home, the best brochures, the best videos, the best assets, marketing assets for their home, and allow the client to then make those tough decisions on what they want to do in terms of pricing and pacing and so on.
And I think some people need a reality check as well, because, again, going back to the whole 2020 conversation, it's not what it was. Like there's very few 3 days on the market and you're sold. It's like right now the days on market is 44 days. So 44 days.
Yeah.
Again, it's you guys have been in the business longer than me, can tell me that like that would be low. That would be considered quick for many years ago, right? Whereas now it's like, oh my God, a month and a half. That's what's going on.
Yeah, there's a few that are selling right away, but they're lower prices.
Yeah.
So people, I think, they're entry-level homes. And I've seen a few in Oshawa here that is selling in 2, 3, 7 days, but the majority of them are sitting for a while. And what I find is really odd is, and I've seen a few, and I don't know what this is, but they're sitting on the market for like 50, 60 days, and then all of a sudden they sell for over asking. I'm like, how the heck did that happen? I'm like I've seen a couple like that seems really odd to me, what's going on there, but.
Found the right person. Alright, so we have a few emails, so I'm gonna go over. If you have a few questions, I'll get to the questions right after. It's one from Craig from early in the show. Craig says, hello folks. We never heard Jackie laugh like that. It's so hilarious. We love it. Hello to all. From Roy. Roy's asking if Jackie's drinking tonight. She does so every night, Roy.
I usually wait until I get home, Roy, but tonight.
From Don. Hey, did Trutard make a fool of himself last night on that left wing dumb libs Did Trutard make a fool of himself last night on that left wing dumb libtard Steve Colbert show? Yes, he did. I didn't see the show. I'm not sure if you saw the show at all.
You
I
watch
did
it?
not.
You were watching Trump, weren't you?
No, I wasn't watching Trump either.
So I can't really talk on that one, Don.
Yeah.
And then now some real estate questions. We have one from Brian. Brian's asking, hello, what is the interest rate now for real estate here in the GTA?
Well, TD, you can get it around 4.5. You have, it really kind of depends if you're insured or not insured mortgage.
So just to be clear, you're talking about mortgage rates right now, right?
Mortgage
He didn't really
rates.
say
So
what that's-
5-year fixed rates. You're looking in the 4.5 to 5 range. If you're going to be below that, then you have to be a AAA client and have some.
What is considered a AAA client.
AAA client
Or
would
like
be
a-
absolutely amazing.
So like 850,
scenario.
no docs at R1 rating.
No docs, what's
No,
that mean?
no marks on your credit, and that I mean.
Okay, so, yeah, that would be part of it.
Just wondering, because I
Your
thought it may be something
portfolio-
that people wonder.
Yeah, so, no, it's bigger than that. It's not just about your credit.
It's your
it's
ratio
about-
of what
it's a-
your debts are.
It's about your entire portfolio, and whether or not, they want you, that badly.
Yeah.
And so, so they're willing to make almost no money on you. So the variable rate, you're looking at 5.5-ish.
Almost no money.
So almost
on
a
$1 million
point,
home and making
point higher.
700 grand over the life.
Huh?
So on $1 million home, they're making like over 700-800 grand on the life of the mortgage.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, it's relative.
Yeah, when you think you're paying 50, 60,000 a year to a mortgage, and then when you look at 15,000 is what came off your principal, it hurts.
Yeah, you need to look at these amortization tables, see what you're
It
actually
hurts a
paying.
little, but it is what it
We
is.
used to, back in the day, in the 80s when I first started, we used to call it the sick sheet. And not the amortization table, it was called the sick sheet.
Make you sick to look
You
at.
look at
Because
it,
made
you
you
get,
sick.
that's a good thing.
That's what we called it, you know?
Yeah,
You need a sick sheet? I don't know what's wrong.
We
I'm
got
tired
One from
today.
Bob. Hey, is it easier to buy a condo here in the GTA than it is to buy a house? And if so, why?
Yeah.
Well, it depends. Anything under 500
no.
square feet is very hard to get a mortgage for.
Oh.
In a condo.
Okay, so that's true. I think CMHC is okay with 5, but once you get into the 4 and 3s, you got some issues. It really depends what you mean by easier. What is easier? It means easier to find one that you can afford, or what does easier mean to you? Condos are more of an entry-level price point is where they start from. Often where condo prices start, there are no detached homes in that price range. And so, for example, you've got it up there. What's the average price of a detached home? 1.4 something?
1.6. Oh, 1.4, yeah, 1.4, yeah.
1.4 overall in the
Overall.
entire market. And what's a condo? 7?
Condo is 674.
674. So you can see it's like
Half the price.
half of the average price. So if you're talking about affordability being easier, then yeah. But if you're talking about something completely different, for example, if you were able to find a $700,000 house, which would be very difficult, but if you were able to find
You
one,
mean a detached?
yeah, detached home in Toronto,
Good luck with that.
versus a condo in Toronto for 700,000. You know, if those two things were the same, it would be easier to buy the detached home over the condo because you don't have the maintenance fees. So, you know, because maintenance fees being $600,000 or $700,000, something, I mean, sorry, $600 or $700 a month, that takes away from your ability to get a bigger mortgage. So it really, your question, I hope I've answered it, but your question has several answers depending on what angle you're coming from.
Cool. We have one more question from Steve. Steve says, hey to all, what is this vacant home tax thing?
If you're not in your home, if nobody's in the house, then the government wants to punish you for having it vacant. This is a big problem in Vancouver, especially Vancouver condos, some of the higher priced properties where people have multiple properties, and they have one in Spain and one in Paris and one in Canada and one in the States.
That's
and
bad out
one
there.
in Bermuda, and they're not able to get around to all these houses all the time. They pay what you would call it like a luxury tax or a vacant home tax because they already have the luxury tax. So having another luxury tax would sound bad, so they have this vacant home tax. as an add-on. And what they're trying to do is to incentivize people to utilize this space for people who just don't have housing, because there is a housing shortage. Yeah.
We had like one more, I guess. One more is talking about, I guess, building homes with tires. Okay, so basically it says, this is from Francis. Hey, there are millions of these available for free, tires. There are tons of contractors building these homes now. I'm not sure, like, I don't think that's a North American thing or not.
Tires?
Yeah, using the tires to build, I guess.
I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, I've never heard of that either.
We used to, back in the day, build homes with anything that you found in the field, mud, rocks,
Well, I mean,
whatever.
there's people.
You put it together, and it made a great insulation. The mud does, and putting rocks in between it and that, and let it dry and harden, and that was
Well, I
your
guess, you know
exterior.
what, like I don't know. It could work, why not? And then you're
Yeah.
not throwing it in landfill, who knows?
Yeah, it would not necessarily be
Oh,
the
look,
most
and
attractive.
no, it's not only that. Look, they're using cans and everything.
And bottles and stuff like that, yeah.
They're using anything that is going in a landfill, basically, that's what it looks like too.
That was part of back in the day, is, you know, the mud, the rocks, but then there was times when it was bottles as well that you would put in there, and that, yeah.
One more email from Howard. Love your radio show. Good show tonight. When Jackie laughs, does she fart?
No, he does.
Just wondering. My wife does.
No, I don't, thank goodness.
Is it no for the radio or?
Otherwise, these two could be gassed out. Yeah.
It's not a guessing no?
A lot of what?
It's not a guessing no?
Remember we said she
No, it's not
lies?
a guessing lie. No, it's not. Interesting article I was just looking at. Well, only interesting because this has been going on for over a year now, since people have to go back in the office. And they're trying to sell their condos, but I don't know, they just put out another story on how people are suffering. They want to come back to Toronto, but they can't because they're underwater if they sell their cottage. So, yeah, I don't know. And a lot of people are doing it. Even one of our friends, she works for the government, and she said the same thing. And even with her husband, he works for Royal Bank. Now she has to go in like 3 days a week, where before it was like, I think 1 day a week or something. And now they're required to go 3 days. So, I mean, there's a lot of companies now that are,
Moving away from that?
yeah, they're come back in the office. I want to see that you're working.
Yeah. I know, because I'm sure a lot of people, they've gotten used to that luxury of being home. Like, and I guess I get it from both ends. I get it from the workers with the employment that they want to, be able to make sure you're doing a job. But hopefully, I'm assuming they can kind of tell you're doing their job from home as well. But I don't know, that's a tough one, especially if you've kind of been used to it for like 2-3 years, and now to go back and make that trek for, especially if you live more than, like, say, for me, like more than half an hour is like, that's like too much for me. Maybe I'm spoiled. But,
Yeah? Oh, my
yeah.
goodness.
But-
Yeah, I guess, because, like, we live in our car. So for me to,
No, but it's different for you though, because that's different. You're traveling to a good job. It's different, right? And you have more flexibility versus you got to get up every day at 5 o'clock, make your 2 hours. I know people who do 2-hour drives, 3-hour
No, man.
train. The train one, maybe okay, you can sleep on the train, but if you're driving in 2 hours back
how
and
can you
forth,
sleep on the train with everybody around watching you? Like,
It's
Who
easy.
the hell cares
You
about
just
people
go
watching
sleep.
you?
they are. I'm watching people, so they're
Yeah,
watching.
This is what I tell
everybody's
my kids.
watching
This is what I
everybody.
tell my kids. Nobody cares about you. Everyone is walking around thinking about themselves. Nobody cares.
Then it's anxiety ridden.
Well, that's
for
a you.
me.
You need to work on that.
Yeah. No, I'm not working on it. I'm too old to work on anything.
Anywho, I have an article I think you're gonna like, Randy. It involves a Airbnb in the Masonville area. I'm not really sure exactly where that is. I'm not sure if you guys know where that is, but I think it's in London somewhere. So apparently this home is being rented out for the last 3 years, being an Airbnb, and it's having some issues. Most recently, busloads of sorority girls, strippers, are being basically bused to this area. I guess for some sorority type of thing, and basically
To the Airbnb.
to the Airbnb, yeah. So they're not being bused. They're going themselves because I guess someone has set up some kind of party at this house for the sorority. So they're getting dropped off there, figuring out what to do, and then they do whatever they do. They leave, and then
They do whatever they do. You know what they're doing, Anthony. Come on.
another busload comes. So it's like, again, these are just in regular residential areas, right? So
Yeah, that would be,
I'm sure
wow.
the
In
high
London.
school boys probably love it, but and some of the wives, maybe some of the fathers too. But yeah, so having a bit of an issue there in London with one that's Airbnb. But apparently the owner didn't quite know what this was happening, so he did apologize, I guess. But yeah, so if you have one of these houses in your area,
Like,
but you never know too, really.
Yeah.
kind of the same thing though. Like, I mean, if they don't want to leave, they ain't leaving. I mean, you can crack down on if it's like escort services and that happening out of there, but
Apparently it's a realtor who owns it.
oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, I think it's like, well, it's
That's it? That's a house?
I guess so, yeah.
Oh, it's a nice house.
See what the
And look, yeah,
Yeah.
they look so young.
yeah, well, sorority, right? University, right?
Wow. That's
So
awesome.
basically, the picture we're looking at is a house with looks like maybe
Yeah.
30 to 40 young ladies just standing there.
Yeah. Into party outfits. What I call party outfits.
That's
Yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein Jr. is running things.
Is
So
it?
part of the
And
article,
P. Diddy.
P. Diddy. Oh,
there
okay.
are constantly cars in the driveway, different ones every weekend, and sometimes for longer periods of time throughout the week. A lady
It's a
said.
party house. It's a college party place. That's what it
Is it? You think so?
Well,
Yeah, well, it says the
It's
no-
sorority, so
Yeah.
universities,
Well, it's-
whatever.
I guess yeah, but probably sororities found out about it, so they're again, it's just
Yeah.
rented. They rent it for the weekend.
party
and then-
place.
Oh, so it's just the girls that are there for the weekend.
Oh, who knows?
Yeah, probably.
The girls are going there for the party. I don't know who lives in there.
Well, it says the noise does.
But
come
it
down,
says strippers and,
Yeah.
yeah, it says all
Yeah,
of that
but
going
they're
there.
exaggerating. You look at that, none of them look like strippers.
You can't. You get a good look.
From
What
this
does a
far.
stripper look like?
What are
Sorry.
you talking about?
What does a stripper
Really?
look
Are
like?
you serious?
Yes, I am. Do you think she walks down the street
Yes.
dressed like she's
looking-
going to come out on stage?
Yep.
No, she doesn't.
Yeah, I'd say,
No.
I don't know, a portion of them.
She does not. But that looks like a fairly, those are like large homes. So I can only imagine in the area if they're all, the homes are like that, yeah.
They're all well dressed and
Apparently, it says the person understood that 30 to 40 girls would be coming in groups of 7 or 8 at a time, not 40 to 50 women by the busload. And I guess he says it's his primary residence. Apparently, he rents it out on the weekends, which is, I guess, I don't know.
well, I don't think you're allowed to do that.
Why? So
You can't,
Rent your
you get in all kinds of trouble if you're renting out your primary residence for parties each
On the
weekend.
weekend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
if anything was to happen to anybody, you're
You
responsible.
you can have one, two.
That's why
but
I never-
After that, they're
yeah.
gonna shut you down.
That's why I never,
In a
ever,
residential neighborhood?
ever understood.
You have to go to a commercial neighborhood for
talking.
that. No, I understand.
That's why I never, and now I forgot, see?
Okay. It was pretty important.
No, what were we saying?
Pardon?
You weren't saying anything. You were
All right.
hidden.
Made
And
me forget.
Moving on. We'll wait for Jackie to reset. We got an email from Tammy. Tammy says, "What's going on? Hello tonight to all of you. So bottom line, our house is selling or not? What is going on? Thank you."
yes, 1 in 4 homes are selling. There's like 5,000 homes that sold last month, and inventory is almost 20,000.
But, like you said earlier, if your home is not turnkey, what we call move in, not have to do anything beautiful, it's not the one selling first.
No, and if you think that your home has, because it has red shag carpet, that it's worth more than the rest of the homes, because you have a green bathroom, that
What
you
the
feel
heck?
you're going to get more money than everybody else because you've done interlocking on the side of your home is worth more than everyone else, you will be the highest bidder and therefore you'll get to keep your home.
That's his big line. I heard that a few times now. That's your new thing?
It's a new
You will
thing.
be the highest bidder on your home.
It's very true. It's a different market, so, today.
Yeah, they're either looking for a really good deal or people are looking for a really good home.
Yeah, and if they're looking for a really good home, they still want a good deal. This is the marketplace we're in.
And they like the income rental
And,
too, aspect in a home.
people who bought homes last year and the year before that, their homes aren't worth what they paid. So, the next set of buyers are watching this and saying, oh, well, we gotta be really careful what we pay, since everyone else is losing. So, it goes the opposite when you bought a home and it's worth $40,000 more the next year, and then $40,000 worth more the next year, buyers watch that. They say, hey, I better jump in, I better pay more. But it's the opposite now. Homes are worth less. And so buyers are saying, hey, we gotta be more cautious, we gotta be more careful. And that's what's happening. And right now, buyers are on the sidelines. It's,
Everybody's waiting for something to happen.
I
Like,
don't know if they're waiting for anything to happen, hun. I don't think it's like that. I don't think people are sitting there with this pent-up demand, just kind of wanting to see what's going on. They're afraid of the market. The consumer confidence is not high. At least that's my opinion. There are other realtors that have the opinion that you do, that, people are just waiting and watching to see
people
what's
are.
going on. I think the only people waiting to watch and see what's going on are sellers. Buyers, they're not interested right now. Most. And that's why transactions have gone from 120,000 transactions to 60,000 transactions. Not because people are waiting to see what's happening. They're not interested. They do not like the price point. Matter of fact, I'll take it one step further. People think, and this is a common feeling out there, and the news is hitting it, and the news has been dead wrong, but you've been hearing it here like a broken record. The Bank of Canada bringing down the rates is not going to stimulate the real estate market. It's going to work to try to stimulate the economy, which is in very serious trouble. That's what it's looking to stimulate. Now, people are saying, yeah, but then things become more affordable. Well, who do they become more affordable for? The variable rate right now, we just told you, is about 5.5%, about 1% higher on average than the fixed rate. So the fixed rate is the mortgage that people are getting. Not only because it's the cheaper way, you save money, you're gonna pay, $1,000 a month less. That's not the only reason. The real big reason, if this flipped and the variable mortgage was cheaper, people still wouldn't do the variable mortgage. They're afraid of it. They don't want to get their family put into $1 million home that they're gonna have to pay $5,000 a month to keep, and bet it on a variable rate, where with Tiff Macklin at the helm, next thing you know, their mortgage is at $750 or $650. And then they're like, how are we gonna be able to afford to do this? Everything is so expensive, and my mortgage is eating up all my disposable income. I can't even afford to keep my car. I can't afford to feed the kids. I can't afford to send them to dance. I can't afford to do anything. Nobody is looking for that risk. Unless they are very wealthy, they don't have that risk tolerance. So the variable mortgage is actually like a bad word to people. Right now, especially, there is no confidence that the Bank of Canada will be responsible with the way in which they handle that rate, responsible to the people who are subject to their whims. And so people won't be investing in that mortgage. That mortgage is only going to be for, I would say, more sophisticated and people who have the disposable income to weather the times of the variable mortgage. It's a gamble that very few people want to make right now. You know, you leave your house, you go to the casino, there you don't mind gambling, you know?
You do, because when you leave, you're crying because you lost your money.
Okay, but you went there to do that. So you have a drink, you have dinner, you play some slots, you bet 00 on the roulette wheel, you play some blackjack, and you go home a couple $100 poorer. You're prepared for that, but you're not prepared to have your what you're thinking would be a family asset to actually bankrupt you in the snap of a dime. And we have all learned that this gentleman has very sharp teeth. He went and did quantitative easing, flooded the market with money. The richest time in Canada's history was when nobody was allowed out of their house. Shops were all closed. You weren't allowed to go to work. Kids weren't allowed to go to school. You weren't allowed to go to a mall and see stores open. If you happened to go to a store, half the aisles were taped off. You couldn't go down them. Most of the stores were closed. All the restaurants were closed. And this was the richest time in Canadian history. Money was flowing like water. And that's what caused our inflation. Right? It wasn't because Canadians came out of their house with their savings and decided to buy TVs. That wasn't what caused the inflation. They want you to believe that. It's actually stupid that they actually thought that we would buy into that. It was how reckless they were with their quantitative easing plans in order to prop up our economy, a fake economy, so that our government can spend money like water, and the economy didn't hurl into a recession because they were doing all this fake money. And what's happening? Well, now we're living the ripple effect of that. So my point being here is that the variable mortgage is something that people don't really want to touch. They're afraid of it. So if the Bank of Canada calls a rate and does lowers it half a point, and then does another half a point by the end of the year, brings it down a whole point, it's going to balance with the fixed rate. The fixed rate, your family gets to actually live with the money that you're making. The variable rate, you have no idea what's going to happen to you. Nobody's doing that at the same price, no way. Now, that's only one part of the scenario, and that's why as our economy goes deeper and deeper into a recession, into a slump, and people are losing their jobs and all this stuff is happening, and the government is trying to stimulate it by lowering the rates, as that's happening, we need to look back in history. If we were to look back in history, we're in 2024 now. What was it, 2022? Was it 2022 or 2021? 2022, I believe. I know when it was March, and what was happening was February was an absolute, you have Market Watch there?
Yeah.
If you go to the very last page of Market Watch for a second, just scroll right down to the very bottom. How many transactions go up a little? How many transactions at the bottom of that year there?
75,000.
The top one? 75,000. What year is that?
Bottom one, 2022. That's it, yeah, 75,045.
What year is that?
22.
2022. 2022. March of 2022. February was great. It was awesome. January was great. December was good. But February was on fire. And we said, oh my, March, April, May are going to be incredible months. because those are the juicy months of every single year. Those are the bread-winning months of the year where sellers are getting the most amount of money. Buyers are fighting over homes often. And we have a crazy, amazing February. Guess what happened when March came? March came. There were no rate hikes, no nothing. The Bank of Canada rate was 0.25, almost zero, quarter of a point. And March nosedived. It took a nosedive. There was no stimulus, no anything that caused this. The market just tanked. Buyers had enough. They said, forget it. We are not doing this anymore. We're not paying $100,000 more for every house. We're not doing it. We're done with this marketplace. Buyers had already rebelled. And then the Bank of Canada did their first rate increase. And the Bank of Canada started getting very aggressive with rate increases in there. And then the whole story was about the Bank of Canada doing these rate increases. But the truth of the matter is the market had already tanked. My point being this, is that if the market has already tanked because the prices were too high, buyers already gave up on the marketplace. The fact that the Bank of Canada was raising the rates, that was just a nail in the coffin. But the coffin was already there. We were already starting to experience the decline of that incredible seller's market that we've seen. It was already adjusting itself into a buyer's market. It was already starting the phase, the decline from there, the adjustment period to bring prices back down to reality. The market was already doing that. And then the Bank of Canada came with all these rate hikes, and really hurt the real estate industry, all industries that were dependent on any kind of financing, really, really hurt them. But it wasn't the reason why the real estate market tanked, and that's where the false narrative is out there. The false narrative is the Bank of Canada destroyed the real estate market. Well, no, the real estate market was already on the decline. And the Bank of Canada just put the nails in the coffin. And so because of this, I strongly believe that we are heading into a buyer's market where prices are going, there's going to be a downward pressure on pricing. And that the bank bringing down the rates, even if they brought the rates all the way down to 0.25, a quarter of a percent, the market was already rejecting the prices at 0.25%. So why would the market all of a sudden accept all the prices at 0.25%? I'm not buying it, okay? So these are the reasons why I believe that we are in this for the long haul. This is not going to get better next month. It's not going to get better next year. We're going to have ups and downs. We're going to have times when the market's more healthy. Like right now, the market is a lot more healthier than it was in the summer. And it's going to not be as good in the winter, and then it's going to be more healthy in the spring, but we still are in a declining or a zero increase marketplace.
Just to kind of, that's what you're saying. To kind of elaborate a little bit on what you're saying. Basically, we're in a downward market. It's downward, but it's still cyclical, right? So yes, it's going. As it's going down, it'll still have its up peaks as it's going down, where you'll feel nice, come back up, and then it goes back down again. Comes back up, go back down again, right? So we're probably gonna have that for a little bit of time. And if you really dig into the numbers, like I was saying for a little while, even when we were in the seller's market, for me, when I was looking at these numbers, I'm looking at, okay, yes, our days on market is 6 days or 7 days, but like last month it was 4 days, right? So the next month is 10 days, where it's still 10 days is still amazing, but the rate that it was climbing, when I was looking at it, was it was climbing fast, kind of like we're talking about these the mortgages and the delinquencies, right? The delinquencies right now is 0.27%. Like if you just look at that number, 0.27%, that means 2 out of every, I guess, 1,000, 2.7 out of every 1,000 people, right? Which still is it's still a lot of people, but it's when you look at it, it was 0.05% just like last year or a few years ago, 0.05 to 0.27. That's a crazy jump, and if we continue with that same rate of change, in the next year or two, who knows? Maybe it's at 0.5, 0.7, which it can grow really, really fast. So it's you want to look at what's happening right now, but you also want to look at how it's changing with respect to what it was not too long ago, and try to put those things together. Obviously, for the average person, it's not that easy because you don't have all the data. You don't maybe know where to look. But again, as Jackie always says, you want to find the right people who've been there, who kind of know what the rivers are like normally and where they're trending, so you can get the best advice and best information. But we do have a couple emails. One from Gail. Gail says, it sucks big time. So the market still is not good for us, poor slobs. I do not know how anyone in the real estate business makes a living. If we, the $70,000 a year job people, cannot afford to even live in a dumpster, what does that say about our country here in Canada? It sucks, yeah. Like honestly, if you're a single income, $70,000, all I can say is good luck. Like unless you have like $800,000 to put down on $1 million home, then maybe. But you definitely, with $70,000 income, I would say you need at least 2 incomes and a really good portion down payment, especially with this marketplace. So yeah, Gail, it does suck right now. Basically, I guess either houses come down crazy lot or what we're all making goes up, right? Because those are really the only 2 options we have.
And not only
Well,
that.
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, on top of that, yeah, there are a lot of realtors that are making no money and getting out of the business. So.
Yeah. I would say move the cheese.
To where?
Instead of, there's opportunities out there. It's just they're hard to get into in some cases. For example, out in Oshawa, you can get a 6-plex for like 1.5 million, and in Toronto, single detached is 1.5 million, the average. Actually, in the land, it's about 1.5 million. So the thing is that would it be worth it at 1.5 million? So I know that that's hard to qualify for, but when you get into commercial properties, it actually is very different. It's about the income that's coming in from those properties. So would it be worth it for 2 people, to buy a 6-plex, $750,000 mortgage each?
If that's something that you want to do, if you want to have renters and.
Well, I mean, but you want to get into the market, right? I'm just sort of
know,
like,
I know,
I
but-
think that these things, and then you got 4 people helping you, to actually pay your mortgage. And so there may be other avenues. Now, I know that may not be popular because, I remember back, when you falling in love and everything, getting a home with the wife, she doesn't want to have anybody in the basement or whatever. I don't want anybody living in my basement. I don't want anybody living beside me. But meanwhile, they're coming out of a condo, right, or an apartment where they got people beside them, above them, behind them. But now that they're going into a house, they don't want anybody around them.
Well, they feel that now they're trying to get away from the people, I guess, and have a little bit of. I don't know.
Okay,
I can see people saying that.
I think basically what I'm saying is you
lots
gotta,
of people.
With where we're at right now, you can't just be so hard fast with what you want if you want to actually get ahead. Again, there are some, I know in Oshawa, there are some houses which are relatively cheap, but do you want to live in those areas as well? Like there's the pros and cons of that. Personally, I wouldn't want to live in some of the areas where you can get a house for pretty cheap in comparison to other places.
Yeah.
You gotta be really
Especially if
careful
you
with
have
that.
children, because you got to think about it. Out here in Durham, it's very hard to put your kid in a school outside of your boundaries.
Yeah.
Well,
So
really, like, leave
you're
it.
not
You
going to
have to-
move in a bad spot, in a bad area where you can now afford to buy a house and think that you're going to put your kids in a better
Unless you're doing
school.
private school,
Yeah.
and in that case, if that's what you're doing, you might as well
Yeah,
get a
figure it
better
out.
I mean,
neighborhood.
yeah, because I know of this September, a lady that she has a son, and he was in grade 6, and her daughter was just starting school, and because the boundaries are something, I don't know, she's living in the exact same place she lived in for years, but for some reason, her daughter has to go to a different school
they could've-
than her son.
Oh, that's.
And
Oh,
they
yeah.
pleaded with the MPP. They went to everybody, and it's like nope. So her son's going one way, and she's got to take the daughter opposite way to
I
school.
would think they get the whoever. What might have happened is that sometimes when they build a new school, you get moved to new school. But I find it weird that one goes one.
Yeah.
They'd
I would
separate
say
the
that they would bring
families,
this one who's here, make him go to the new school as well. That's kind of, or maybe it was a. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it was very odd. I mean,
As we do have
Yeah.
one last email from Gwen. Gwen's actually maybe two because I missed one from earlier. Gwen says all lies. Randy is so right about the COVID pandemic. That screwed up the world, but it was the politicians that caused it with their lies. All lies. Listen, people, I've been telling you about these politicians.
It is.
They tell you what they want. They tell you what they need to tell you at the time to get reelected. That's my thing, and I'm sticking with it.
listen.
Well,
I agree with that.
but
What do they come out?
don't
What do
blame
they
it on
always?
them.
No. What do they always come out and tell you? They're going to do X amount for the seniors and childcare. What do? There's still seniors out there that have nowhere to live. Please. It is.
The issue is us.
Canada?
The issue is us, not them, okay? The only reason they do that is because they get away with it.
But how did
Alright.
you not get away with it? You vote somebody else in?
Because yeah, you vote somebody
Yeah,
else
but
in.
then it's the same crap, different person.
Well, then you vote them
Yeah,
out
then
too.
then it goes back. It's just a
No,
ping
because
pong.
because they want the power. So they know that if they want to stay in power, because that's what a lot of that is about, they need to step up. They need to do what they promised. If they don't, then we say, forget it, you're
Okay.
out. We're going to the next
Okay,
one.
but listen, here's a great, you had something playing the other night when you were working in the background. And they were saying the same thing, and I don't like to talk about politics, but just for an example, they were saying about Harris. She's going on about all these things she's going to do, but they're like, but you're in power. Why aren't you doing it now? Why, so it's that
And you
sort
got-
of thing, right? You go out there and you campaign, but what were you doing for the last 4 years? You didn't do it.
But 2 minutes. But Jackie, that's exactly what I'm saying. It
Yeah.
is our fault. So you got half of, in this case, America. Here in Canada, we just said to liberals, guess what? You're done. You're done.
Yeah.
We're not doing this anymore. We don't care if the next guy is bad or not. You're fired.
But has it gotten better?
Because, no, it can't get better. He's got to go. It's over.
Oh, you're
It's
saying
done.
it's done with to go, okay.
Here. But in the States, what's happening for some strange reason, I think it's because of Donald Trump,
I'm telling you,
they
so-
did a really
I-
good job of making him a demon. They did a really good job of that, and so people are just talking what they've heard on the news all the time, constant.
I don't get the Trump thing too much
Billions
right
and
now.
billions of dollars in propaganda that they spent to program the United States, but the people, they don't seem to care. They're like, oh well, yeah, they want to bring in more IRS agents, and what do you think they're bringing in more IRS agents for? They're coming after you, and then they want to let as many migrants in, and what do you think they're doing that for? And then and all these things that they're doing, and America's just saying, oh, well, that's okay. They're doing it for, and America's just fine with it.
I don't know if they're-
So
I don't know if they're saying it's
half
okay.
of America is fine with it, because that's why half of America is saying it's okay. So that is our fault. That is our fault. And if we're allowing, well, I mean, for me, I guess if it wasn't for Donald Trump, I wouldn't even have known about all the propaganda, because all we used to watch was
Nobody would have
CNN.
known.
Yeah, that's true. So maybe it's
Would
not
it have
really
ever came out?
their fault. But I tell you, one thing that should happen is that the government should not be able to fund any of the news channels ever again, here in Canada or in the States. There's too much collusion happening there.
I'll give you that too, but I don't know. I think Trump is just. If Trump was just, I think it's just Trump. It's just his personality in general. If you had a Trump without Trump's some of his eccentricities, I guess, I think it would be fine. But it's just people just don't like Trump because of how he is.
It's
So
his
it-
personality,
But
right?
he is also the only human being in my lifetime that has ever walked into the White House or into any government and just started doing amazing things
I
for
hear
the
you. I'm not
country,
arguing that.
improving so much stuff.
You
The
can go
guy
on and on and
lowered,
on and on and
lowered
on.
the corporation
Sir.
taxes, and all of a sudden
out of
corporations were
time.
giving
We're
out
out of time.
bonuses and all
You
this
can go on
stuff.
and
Later,
on.
Trump.
Insane.
However, it's still there's some things you have to, the decorum matters for something. So you have to just you
Yeah.
have to play the role. You can do the stuff he did, but you have to play the role a little bit in that you can't just be
That's
a,
called politics.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
not.
yes, but
He
no,
is
it's partially
not
politics,
doing
but
that.
like some of the stuff like it's just some stuff he says is ridiculous.
It is, but some of the stuff that everyone says
Yes,
is
but
ridiculous.
he goes,
when Joe Biden got in, what
We're
was
out
one
of
of the
time,
things
though.
he said?
Guys,
we
we're out
gotta
of
go.
time.
When Joe Biden got in, what was it he said? Oh man, don't worry, I'm gonna solve climate change.
Oh man.
Like honestly, if you want to talk ridiculous,
That's stupid. Like, that's stupid.
But this is
yes.
what he said.
But
One of
Trump
the
just
first things he
like,
said.
I think they're all idiots, but like I just think anyway.
Gotta
Thank you
go.
for listening to Your Home, Your Money.
Later, guys.
With your hosts, Randy,
Nice one, Randy.
Jackie, and Anthony, right here on Reality Radio 101.